It's serious time. Do you remember when we were 10 and just getting to the end of the school day felt like an absolute eternity? I am still young on a grander scale, but at 26, I feel like the last couple years have gone by in a few blinks, and I've heard it only gets worse as you get older. But I can remember a time where the last week of school felt like an entire season in and of itself. To me, it's really amazing how humans experience time so differently, depending on our level of busyness, our age, how happy we are. But that experience is all in our heads, right? There's no way that nature experiences something as definite and as accountable as time in such a loose, abstract way, right? Hey, bit of a different one this week. If we haven't met yet, my name's Grant. I work in academic marine science in Delaware, which is not where I'm at right now. I just got off of a trip working in the Caribbean and I was tired, so I decided to get a little bit of change of scenery, try and find a wave or two, and maybe some fresh snow. We'll see how that works out this week. In the meantime, I'd really appreciate it if you helped me get some of this wholesome science content out to as many people as I can by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video. It really, really helps. Thank you. It's not what it should sound like when you put a wetsuit away. If you made me choose, I think time and how things change over time is probably my favorite and the most important part of my line of work. And while we're not trying to prevent nuclear holocaust by going forwards and backwards in time here,
that was so dramatic.
Hear me out. Take this for example. This is water. Yeah, it's moving. The ripples that are caused by the wind, just kind of warping the water surface around a little bit, are tiny, they're very weak, and they're moving on the kind of fractions of a second type of wave period, or the time in between two successive waves. They're actually so weak that I can just make some new ones right here with my hand, and they'll destroy all the other ones. But what happens if we let those ripples continue to form and organize over an entire ocean? It reorients them into a time scale that we can more easily notice, or maybe take advantage of. That. I can't really tell if my mouth is moving right now, but some things are just meant for the internal memory bank. That was really awesome, but it did get killed by a few things. Number one, I think the wind chill is probably in the single digits right now. The air temp is like 23 or 24. My internal body temperature is probably in the low 90s at this point. But the other thing that made my luck run out is next up on our timescale list. But I need to turn the heater on. Every 6 or 12 hours, depending on where you live, the water level slowly rises and falls from a combination of the sun and the moon's pull on our little tiny rotating water ball. And we call them tides, but normally it's not something you would immediately notice just watching the water. It's literally happening on the time scale of paint drying. The crazy thing is though, if you think about it, the ripples, the waves I was able to ride, these tides, and even the tidal cycles, like the tropical equatorial and the spring neap tidal cycles, all of them are just waves happening on different time scales. This kind of makes me go back to the 10-year-old kid who just is hyper-focused on getting to the end of the school day versus a, I don't know, 26-year-old who blinked in 2020 and woke up here in 2024. Both of them are experiencing time passing, but the process of that is just happening at a really different rate. That's not a seagull. Wow. Well, let's keep going, shall we? I'm on the long edge of one of the islands in the area. It's facing almost due northeast, which is pretty much 90 degrees to the ocean. The massive 8-foot tides here, combined with a little bit of river outflow, ran back and forth so much that they shaped the islands here into these long slivers that we see today. So as we speed these tides up over years and centuries, they start to shape the land that they are flowing around in a big way. Bigly. So looking at this from the island was pretty cool, but when we look under the water, it gets really amazing. What if I told you that 20,000 years ago, the sea level was 400 feet lower than what it is today? And right here, I would be sitting under ice. Several thousand feet of ice. So much ice that it pushed the land where it is right now here, 500 feet below its current level. Then slowly but surely the sea level rose over thousands and thousands and thousands of years back to where it is today, leaving behind all these amazing structures that you can see on the seabed. This is why in Delaware, if you have, I don't know, run a boat aground, it usually goes squish or rides up into some mud or sand. But up here, as my friend Vince says, it goes bang! Thank you, Vince.
Yeah, we can get inside. Shrink wrapping is not cheap. How much? $2 bucks a square
Well, I did get a little skunked on the snow front this week. And, well, the fact that it didn't snow exactly here this week is not directly attributable to climate change. It's certainly part of the equation. One of the biggest reasons that climate scientists understand that the recent change in climate is caused directly by humans is because it's happening on such a shorter time scale, like 100 years or so, than those glacial cycles that took 20,000 to 100,000 years for the sea level to rise. But I think one reason that it's so difficult for us to relate to climate change is because of how we just experience time every day. And it's kind of baked into what I said. I said every day, not every decade. I personally don't notice too many changes in the mirror day to day, but I promise you, if we went to high school together, you probably took up until this point to recognize who I am. And no, you don't get to see a picture. We're just not really built to experience time in some of the ways that Earth changes, which is why I think that science is so powerful in helping us understand some of those processes like climate change that we can't just see clearly. Well, I'm packing up today and leaving tomorrow morning. This has been just such a joy to make. I absolutely loved making this video for you. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I would love if you shared some of your thoughts down in the comments below. Next up, I'm going to be opening a serious can of worms, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. But in the meantime, if you are interested in how we measure some of the things in this video, like waves, I got the perfect video for you. If you like this, feel free to like it and maybe share it with someone you love. If you didn't like it, what are you doing here? go share it with somebody you don't like. I don't know. I'll see you real soon from back home. I'll do anything for a click.